Well, thank you for joining us today. I have Chair of the Henry County Board of Commissioners, June Wood, with us today. Thank you, Chair Wood, for joining us. And we're going to talk a little bit about SPLOST V and answer some of the questions that we're hearing out in the community.
Well, thank you for this opportunity because we are getting a lot of questions and we definitely want our voters to be educated.
Absolutely.
So thank you for this opportunity.
Thank you, my pleasure. So some would say that we're already taxed at a higher rate than counties around us. And what do you have to say about that?
Well, I understand the concerns that our citizens may have regarding taxes, but actually Henry County is pretty much in line with taxes that are compared to counties that are around us. As a matter of fact, if you look at DeKalb and Clayton County, their taxation is about 8%, okay. Parts of Fulton County at 7.4%, and we're at 7%. So we're pretty much, similar to surrounding counties.
Okay, yeah. Wonderful. Thank you. So SPLOST V, is this a new tax for the residents of Henry County?
Let us be clear, this would not be a new tax if approved by the voters in March. This would be a continuation of what we call a special purpose local option sales tax. And let me clarify what that means. That means that those who are shopping here in Henry County, if they're shopping with restaurants or shopping at some of the wonderful retail stores that we have, that they are actually contributing towards the taxes that help us run the counties and the cities. And so if approved by the voters in November, the current special purple local option sales tax actually expires in March 31st, and if it is approved by the voters for SPLOST V, then this would continue the very next day.
So specifically to those projects, what will the county residents see as improvements?
Well, the good thing is I will tell you that much of what we hear from our citizens has to relate to transportation. We also hear lots of interest in quality of life, type opportunities. And of course, public safety is also very, very key in a lot of the thoughts of our citizens. So greater than 50% of the project list that we have is related to transportation. I will tell you, we've got some wonderful new opportunities to think about. Many have spoken about the Aquatic Center. This is a $22 million investment because we have, many of our students that are traveling outside of the county to practice and compete for swim opportunities, but we have seniors that are also very interested, and because there could be a great public-private partnership, this would be a really great match for Henry County, especially at the rate that we're going and the quality of life that we do want to also balance as well.
That's wonderful. I like hearing the public-private partnership. And we've talked about it. We know that we both have heard about it out in the community, that transportation is a huge need, and you had stated somewhere upwards of 55 to 60% of the proposals are going to transportation. However, level 2 projects don't include transportation. That's the Aquatic Center and a few other public safety initiatives and fire stations and that. Why didn't we put any transportation in there?
Well, according to SPLOST law, when we of course had the Board of Commissioners had to actually make a position as it relates to the city's position on SPLOST, we had to go to this new SPLOST level 1, level 2. And according to SPLOST law, those projects in the level 2 consideration have to benefit the whole county. So therefore, transportation projects are not necessarily included in level 2 projects, even though I would say that one road could go through one road that would impact the whole county, but according to SPLOST law, transportation projects are not included in the level 2. And that's why you've got to identify those projects as you move into the level 2, which is going to be important as well.
All right, well that makes sense. I agree with you that they should be higher priority, but well, thank you, Chair Wood. What are some of the other projects that are proposed in SPLOST V?
Thank you again. We again want to reemphasize that greater than 50% of the funding is allocated to transportation. We've spoken about the Aquatic Center, but I just wanted to also note that there's improvements for the McDonough Library. So the library is included there. There's conversations more about recreation facilities, especially for our children and seniors, to make sure that we have a good quality of life here in the county as we continue to grow.
Absolutely.
So these are things that we have to address and be prepared for.
Absolutely. It does sound well balanced. Thank you. I've been hearing out in the community several comments, questions and that around the Bethlehem Road interchange. And can you explain the status of that interchange and how that looks to be moving forward?
Yes, we do want to just say thank you to the voters who actually voted in SPLOST V for the proposed Bethlehem Road interchange along I-75. And that interchange has actually met its feasibility study based on the freight and logistics traffic that is around that area, especially from a safety and volume standpoint. The great thing is that it's also has gotten wonderful approval from the Georgia Department of Transportation and has even been tentatively or pending approval from the Federal Highway Administration. So those are major milestones for the movement of the interchange. The great thing is I'm very grateful that the City of Locust Grove has stepped up to continue to help us move the interchange forward. The state legislators are working to also do what it can do to help make sure, because it's a regional project, that we move it forward. So I just encourage our voters to keep the focus that we are going to continue to do everything that can be done to move that interchange forward, because it's critical.
Wonderful.
In so many ways, especially in that area of the industrial industry that we have, and especially some relief must happen to Highway 155.
Absolutely. No, thank you for that, because I think that that's very important for the residents to hear, is that it's not off the table, that it is moving forward. There are other ways that it's being handled. Wonderful.
Yes.
Thank you. Thank you. So the tough question, these are great. We've talked about a lot of transportation improvements, a wonderful aquatic center, fire stations, police precincts, libraries, parks and recreation. The list is long and available for anybody that wants to review it. What happens if it doesn't pass?
I would even hate to think about that option. What I do want our voters to understand is that this is critical for Henry County. And I think it's important that you continue to educate yourself around what the special purpose local option sales tax does. It allows those who are visiting and touring, and those of us who live here, to help contribute towards the needs of the county without increasing the property taxes. So that's one asset to think about. The other thing is because we're growing so fast, it just allows us to again get a benefit from those who are visiting here. I keep wanting to emphasize that. The question again, to your point, what happens if it doesn't pass? Then we're going to have to go back and identify, how are we going to get the funding for transportation projects? How are we going to get the funding for the much needed fire stations and police stations? How are we going to continue to meet the capital needs of this county, especially at the rate it is growing? And so that is the question that the Board of Commissioners and the cities will have to think through, because what is interesting about the whole special purpose local option sales tax is that this is the 5th one. And they're on average 6 years of collections. In this case, it's going to be over $200 million that is projected to be collected. For SPLOST IV, it was $190 million plus, and thankfully the economy is doing good. And in previous years, it's been several hundreds of million dollars that has come into this county that has allowed us to again meet the needs of the county. And about 50% of the SPLOST collections are coming from people who don't live here.
It's a win-win.
So I don't want to answer a question about what is going to happen if it doesn't pass. I hope that the voters will continue to be educated, and I will say that I do understand that there may be individuals that may not be pleased with everything that may be on the list. There were some things I thought, should be there, but I see more positive things. If it doesn't pass, the question is going to be, how are we going to fund the public safety needs of capital investment? How are we going to fund some more transportation, matching dollars? How are we going to, again, think about, some other benefits to our county? So those are the questions that I would even ask the voters themselves.
Yeah, thank you. I too have to commend you and the Board of Commissioners and all of those that have been involved for the public input that you've sought and taken into account as you put together the package, the package for SPLOST V and what the proposal is. As we wrap up, I know we've talked history and that. Are there any highlights from the last 4? We talked a little bit about the 11 fire stations. What were some of the other highlights that we saw?
I tell you, there is one that really stands out to me, and that goes back to the Southern Crescent Technical College. Henry County was one of the largest counties of its size without a technical college presence. And when you talk about technical college, it's a partnership with our school system, it's a partnership with the post-secondary, but it's also a way to identify workforce development needs that will allow our citizens, including our children and and other family members, to get good quality, meaningful jobs. And we've actually had an opening of a wing that's in partnership with the Southern Crescent Technical College and Piedmont Henry, because there is a need for workforce in the medical field. Fortunately, the Southern Crescent Technical College is looking towards more technology-driven jobs based on current demands. And then, of course, we just want to make sure that we are making sure that we're getting the advanced manufacturing type opportunities, which are higher paying jobs for all of those that are working logistics, so that our careers remain relevant. So that is definitely a high point, but I still say that the fire stations, 11 I think, that have been open since SPLOST, the roads that have occurred. I mean, you can see the roundabouts, Camp Creek Parkway, not Camp Creek Parkway, Campground Road, so thank you for that correction. I corrected myself. And even we just recently had the acquisition of right-of-way for Rock Quarry Road, but we've got, again, continued conversation around Highway 42, Highway 155, all of the 8 roads that are here through this county. So I just think that we've got to look for the positives in this and understand that we're just going to continue to take more work. And I'm glad to have this opportunity to maybe address some of the questions that our citizens may have. And I do encourage all of our citizens that please get a thorough list of all of the SPLOST projects that are available, and they are available there on the Henry County website. And you can go to co.henry.ga.us and go to the SPLOST department listing and see, again, all of the projects that are available. So I would encourage everyone to continue to keep themselves educated. So thank you again for this opportunity.
It was my pleasure. Thank you for joining us and having the conversation. I feel that I've learned a great deal, so thank you very much. Again, SPLOST's program lists for SPLOST V are available out on the county's website if you have any questions there, or give us a call at the chamber. All right, well, I want to thank you all for watching this video and the conversation with Chair Wood, and I encourage you to vote in positive, stay positive, but vote yes for SPLOST V. And if you have any questions or you want more information, whether it's for the districts, the counties, or the municipalities you live in, visit www.extendthepetty.com. Have a great day.